Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Live Frequency. Hope everyone is doing well. This is the very first event, so I do apologize in advance for any glitches or anything that happened along the way. So let's do introductions, I guess. First of all, my name is Ray. I will be your host for today. We do have a guest here by the name of System. Do you prefer System or Tim? Doesn't matter. Oh, I'm not hearing your audio. Oh, you're muted, by the way, just so you know.
Hey, let's see. Does that work a little bit better?
Yes, it does.
If I had a superpower, it'd be talking on mute. I don't know how I did it this morning. So yeah, you can call me Tim, but I go by Sis Tim for all my music and art. But yeah, while we're here, call me Tim.
All right, perfect. Sounds good.
Right on.
Awesome. So how it's going to work is technically we will give the floor to Tim to go ahead and tell us a little story about himself, what he uses AI music for, is this is full-time or part-time hobby, anything that we need to know, right? He can promote himself. During that segment, there will be some polls happening in the chat, so always make sure that you're taking and keeping an eye out for that, and that will be used for the the songwriting challenge at the end. So we're going to poll for things like genre, vocal style, any additional instruments that you may want. It should be fun. Make it all kind of nice for the end finale. Throughout the event, just also in the chat, you will see that there are certain links going out and about. One of them, of course, is always the donation. Should anybody want to donate to the cause, feel free to do so. You can do so by e-transfer. I believe that's more of a Canadian thing, but you can also do so by credit card using the Stripe link there as well, so feel free. There's also a Amazon gift list. If anybody wants to help the channel out, we're always looking for some gear or things of the sorts, right? That'll also be happening. There will be all of Tim's, well, not all, but Tim's, I guess, main socials there as well. So you can go and check them out as well and make sure that you give them some support. Right. Once we've got all the polls out of the way and everything is all said and done, we will then review all the answers from the polls, right? And we'll go through and make sure that we looked at what we're dealing with afterwards. Then we're going to listen to one of Tim's creations, actually. That will also happen. Will be one of his highlights. I'll let you introduce that when we get to that section, right? Tell us about it, what brought you to it, that sort of thing. And then once we've gone through and we've done all that, then we will get to the final, or the finale, the grand finale, I should say, where we get to listen to or create the song. I am trying to find my sound settings here real quick. For some reason, I can't find my I was going to play. Oh wait, maybe I have to start playing it. Bear with me. I want to play a little bit of audio, background audio here from Tim's collection, so we can hear a bit of what's going on. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of loud. But oh, there we go. We'll turn that down. We'll set the mood here, so to speak. That should be good, I think. All right, so while we go ahead and listen to your playlist, Tim, please tell us about yourself. What brought you to AI music? Why did you choose it? What is the passion behind it? Tell us about the creator.
Hey, right on. Thanks. I appreciate this opportunity. This is looking forward to this. This should be really fun. Um, I've been I guess I started getting into AI using it mostly for images around 2001 when DALL-E came out. I've been a visual designer for all my life, and I'm a professional. Um, graphic designer, UX designer, user experience designer by trade, out here in Seattle. So, been excited about using AI for professionally for visual design. Um, but as the technology's been developing, um, found that it could do music, and I've been a DJ of some sort, an electronic musician of some sort. Very um, uh, very unprofessionally for many years, but being able to take some of the ideas that I have and make them reality are absolutely amazing. Like I said, I've been a visual artist for all my life, but I've also been a poet. That's what I went to college for, as a matter of fact. So I have, 30 years of poetry sitting in my archives, and that's what I've been really leveraging for all my new music, to be able to take that old poetry and turn it into something that I can share really in a completely different way. And that's been um, what's really attracted me to all of this, is to be able to take my art and understand it in a different way and be able to share it with everybody in a way that I never would be able to. Nobody's going to sit down and read my poems, but they might listen to it hundreds of times in a song, and that really is one of the things that catches me. So so now I have hundreds of uh, AI coupled songs, and I just find
Sessions.
it amazing. So I'm really excited to be able to, uh, yeah, generate some new art with you today. This should be interesting.
Nice, nice. Yeah, no, looking forward to that. That's going to be. I like the challenge. I think that's kind of the thing, right? And that's, I guess, where is AI really going? Nobody really knows, and I think that's one of the big things. But it's definitely fun to play around with. I don't get to play around with it as much as I could or should or want to in any way, shape, or form. But that's cool. Um, I guess where did the music inspiration come from in your life?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Well, as I said, I've been DJing for years and years and years. Back in the early 2000s, I had a residency down at Marcus's Martini Heaven with one of my best friends, and so I've always been into music, especially the rhythm section, right? Beats and bass. So I can put together an amazing hip hop track, or any sort of music, until we start really getting into the melody and everything. And that's where I really started to have a challenge, and that's why I love Suno. Is
Yes.
we could take so many of those old tracks that I put together back in the day and make them into something new, add new melodies on top of those rhythm tracks that I had created. Um, and then, as I was saying before, be able to leverage that old poetry that I had been writing, and create something new. Always trying to create art. That's been one constant throughout my life. So, this is a big enabler.
Nice. I guess we're running into issues with the poll here, so bear with me. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and set up the polls for YouTube. Um, so what? Now you say that you were DJing back in the day. I don't know if your music was similar to the ones that we have. Again, I'm Canadian, so I don't know if it's that kind of thumping that you would
Yeah,
play back in the day. Um,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. What I have here is, everything is still very, beat heavy, bass heavy. That's where I always start. But when it's coming down to four on the floors and getting people dancing, that's not really what I'm aiming for here. I do have a couple playlists that are definitely, one is called Bang On, and those are the ones that are the ones that have the real, heavy beats, and the ones that might be those those banger for the dance floor. But the
Yeah,
rest of what I've been producing, I think I'd call it more maybe in the trip hop um, genre, if anything. It's definitely gonna be
makes
beat
sense.
heavy, beat forward,
It's,
and everything's going to basically revolve around that. Um, so what I have in, we've made this live frequency playlist that we'll keep up for everybody to explore later if they want. But here, I've got a couple tracks that are a little bit more what was called bangers, more that are, fully fleshed out. Um, in here, I've got one called Everything Shaking and another one called 2 a.m. Blue Screen. And those are ones that I'm going to release sometime soon in the next couple weeks um, on my onto all of the streaming services, such as uh, YouTube Music or Spotify, which I've been releasing tracks out to recently. Um, so going to be those are more, I guess I'd say, finished songs, and we have a bunch in there that are instrumentals, just beat heavy instrumentals that I'm going to be releasing kind of as study breaks, so to speak. Things that you can kind of put on the background as you're working or as you're studying. Uh, Instrumentals that those will be releasing, shortly. As I button those up a little bit, I think some of these might have a little bit more polish to get on them first. Um, but not going for that big DJ in the club, so to speak,
yeah.
anymore. Although that first one that I have in here, I've been going for the big uh, epic uh, stadium sound. So I'm playing with that a little bit, with Suno, which is kind of fun.
That's fair. Yeah, well, I was gonna say that's not what the playlist sounded like, and I did listen to some of your Spotify tracks that you had as well, and they didn't seem overly, I guess, big club DJ style either. They're more,
Yeah.
you got that kind of I guess I don't even know if it would qualify as like full blown EDM or anything. I guess it's more, yeah. It's smooth though. It's kind of nice to be honest.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I've
I've been calling it PNW Noir.
there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like loud enough to be like an EDM or even a trance setting, I think, but it's smooth. Except for maybe that I think it's called "Hold That Frequency" that you have. I think that's the name
Mhm.
of the track, and it's pretty good all in all. Yeah.
Thanks.
Um,
Yeah, hold that frequency. That's the track I most recently published out of the socials. That one I think I published two variants on that, which is that's been an interesting thing to do too. With all of these songs, there, you get so many different variants. It's sometimes hard to like pick your favorite, which is the one that is the best. So, been releasing a few different ones, which is
yeah,
great.
it's fair. It's fair. No, that's cool. So, give me one moment here.
Sure.
So, sorry about that. I got a little home studio, but the door is never closed to the kids, so they sometimes pop in and say hello. I might have our 4-year-old one day maybe do the O Canada national anthem or something, but
Cool.
so we've got the polls happening here and the answers coming through. So we're gonna do a couple more, but where do you? I guess I want to know a little bit more about where do you see, or I guess more, where do you hope AI will? I don't think it'll ever really stop per se, but where would you think it would be a nice place to draw the line at where AI and human meet? right? Because I mean, I know we had discussed this before, right? Back in the day when, I don't know if you can tell by the gray hair. I think the lighting does a pretty good job at covering it, but I'm in my 40s, so I was around, in the 90s and such before all this ever happened. And just being kids in high school trying to put a band together, and it's like you almost have to pay the drummer because there's never a drummer around, or at least in my hometown there wasn't. Um, and you're trying to put a demo tape together, and you're trying to do all this stuff, and it's like next to impossible, and it's really discouraging for starting artists. But AI now, I feel like it's made it almost too easy, if you know what I mean. So it's like, where do you think a nice split would be where AI stops and human begins, or vice versa? What's your
Yeah,
take
I
on
don't think
that?
we're going to, I think the genie is out of the bottle, and I think music is going to really change, really. Well, the music itself isn't going to necessarily change. I mean, it will just like it always has, but the way that we consume music is going to change. Um, I think we're still going to have broadcast radio, which is still a thing. We are still going to send or sell vinyl records, maybe CDs. We're still everything that exists now is going to still exist, but I think what we're going to see is much more targeted, custom, um, bespoke
Oh,
music,
hey, you got a follower. Sorry.
for the individuals, right? We're going to be creating our own things, or our communities are going to be creating our own things for each other. It's going to get more and more narrow and more, specific as we're able to create our own. I can see maybe, being the big artists releasing things that are purposefully malleable so they can be changed for individuals. I think there's going to be a billion more small artists, and it's going to get smaller and smarter, more unique, more unique. Um, it could be more, local specific. The because we're going to have hundreds of more artists theoretically, and let's say my community of West Seattle, I can see perhaps there being more and more unique, specific stuff to Seattle. Now, the one thing that isn't, or that's going to be really interesting, is live music, and I don't know how AI is going um, to perform live. Right? Somebody's going to figure it out. Now, whether that's just taking the music that we've created with Suno or whatever, the individual, maybe I recruit in drummers and synthesizer players and guitarists, or not. I went to a concert the other day, Earl Sweatshirt, right? He's a rapper, and I have to say, it was a dude on stage with a mic and another dude on stage behind him with a laptop and a turntable that I don't think he really actually touched. And then there was a couple guys with him, with the guy, with the DJ, I guess, behind him. One was literally eating a bag of potato chips, and
Nice.
another guy was smoking a joint. And so I'm just thinking, like, and then the guy was rapping. So it's like, well,
Sounds like a good
how
time.
would that could be? I could have given him a track that I've created with Suno, and he could have rapped over it. So I'm not seeing necessarily a whole lot of barriers to entry for live performances of our music. Um, so I think there's going to be a total blur between AI music and, let's say classically produced, which is, I don't know, guitars. Um, I guess the question is, for me, the real one is: are people going to be up in arms about that it's AI music versus a real band, or are people not going to care?
That's been
And
the debate since they guys started, I think.
that's really it, man. Because honestly, I don't think that people care about if the music is AI generated or not. I think they want someone to associate with it. They want a
Yeah.
person behind it, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So maybe my hope is that once people start understanding that the AI tools are just tools, and it does require, the good music is going to come out of something that's intentional, that someone has worked with the tool to specifically generate things, not just dropping in a prompt and hitting go and calling it a day. People realize that there is craft to it. I think that'll be acceptable. And, I, as a system, could be considered a musical artist, not a musician, but maybe a musical artist or something. Terms are going to change. So it's just going to be a new world, but we're going to have the same stuff and new stuff. It'll be interesting. Long
No,
answer.
that's fair. It's kind of funny because once you hear AI music, I think it's a little easier to recognize that there's actually a lot of people out there. I think they use AI tools for live or you know human created music, so to speak. But I mean, if you look back in the early 2000s, I think somebody like Avicii, for instance, who was a well-renowned DJ and everything else, what's different between him mixing it in the studio or him creating it through AI, right?
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
you're on to something when it's like they just want someone to associate with it. They just want that human connection that they can associate with
Hmm.
versus
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. We do have a question actually in the chat here. It says, is there a message that you hope fans take away from your music? Are you one of those? Do you release, first of all, I guess, do you release any concept music like Green Day does? I Green Day
Um.
is who kind of pick on, but they're the big ones right now, I guess.
Yeah. 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 Sure. No, that's a really interesting question. I mean, one of the things that I've been exploring recently, and I think this, probably a function of, um, just circumstance, right? Is I've been, and maybe this is, I'm putting message around it now that they've been created, but the most recent tracks that I've been working on, I work from home, right? And I have for, the last 3 years since COVID. That really changed my profession.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
it changed Seattle and how we are. So one of the themes that's really been coming through is the isolated artist, so to speak, being able to exist, um, on one's own, doing things individually. Um, and it tends to be late at night, right? So, being able to, uh, be create art on one's own, and but then that human desire for connection, right? So that's one thing that I guess I've noticed is kind of a theme, that's been running through a lot of my music recently. Is that idea of isolation, in the world of people, and wanting that human connection. And that's one of
Yeah.
the interesting things too. I think is because I'm using AI to get across this message of, the desire for connectivity with people, and human understanding and love. Um, I don't know. It's an interesting kind of strength and strang between using AI to express these human emotions. Um, so I guess that's a long answer to a very good question, and I don't know if I necessarily hit it, but um, yeah, that's uh, creating in a vacuum, I guess, right? Um,
No, that makes sense.
I,
That makes sense.
I,
COVID was hard on a lot of people. I know that I'm a trainer by trade, and yeah, that was the big thing. We're now going back to the office and such, which I have to say is actually kind of nice. But yeah, it was. I think yeah, anything that came out during COVID was lacking human connection, though.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting,
So
as a professional designer, to be able to work with people, to stand up behind a whiteboard and collaborate and communicate and, explore ideas like that in a room is something I kind of miss. We've had to figure out how to do it all virtually, which is great and getting business done, but and then as well, being able to uh, do music with other people would be excellent, but I've always done it on my own, behind the computer, using Pro Tools or whatever it was in the past. Um, and kind of as an aside, that's one of the things that kind of made me most interested in music at the beginning. My favorite artist is DJ Shadow. And one of the things that I found most exciting about him is that he was able to put together his first album, Introducing, um, has a world record, I guess, because it's the first record in the world that was put together exclusively using samples of other people's work.
nice.
And so this is one of the arguments that I have in the back of my head when I see in our chat boards that AI is not real music, right? Because it's not human produced,
Yeah.
and it's been put into, it's been generated with the help of technology, where, so I look at introducing my shadow and go, well, this is an album that is completely his. It's hard to argue that this isn't his music. Any of these tracks, like Midnight in a Perfect World, isn't completely DJ Shadows, but it's not. It's built completely off of other people's work.
Yeah.
So this is where that fuzziness comes into. This is where the argument comes into play. It's like, well, who owns it? What is music? Is that his music? Is it real music because he hasn't been playing his own drums or any instruments?
Hmm.
So I find that as a really interesting point to bring up, an example to bring up. So being able to do it by oneself is just amazing. I love that.
No, that's fair. Honestly, AI music. Um, I'm sure you'd be familiar with Fruity Loops. I don't know if you remember that
Sure.
software. Yeah, it it used to have all the plugins, and then you just had to highlight where you wanted things to kick in, right? And I mean,
Right,
at that
right.
point, you could almost draw the argument of, is that even real music as well? Mind you, keep in mind, a human did do it, but
Right.
the end result is the same, and that's kind of the funny thing about it, right? And it's just an interesting dynamic of where does that line draw? And again, yes, DJ Shadows with all the samplings, you've got Avicii with all the covers, and it just, the world goes round. So it's kind of nice though to get that different perspective and such. We've got one more poll that we're going to do, and it's just for additional instruments. I'm going to throw that in the chat now. Why don't you go ahead and plug what you've got coming up? Go ahead, plug what you have new, what you're working on, where can people find you, all that fun stuff. Feel free. If you have Twitch open by chance and I missed any of your links, feel free to pop them in there as well if you want, Twitch or YouTube or wherever. Um, Feel free. I'm just going to work on that last little. We're having technical difficulties, so just trying to get this all done. But yes, definitely.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, this should be really interesting. I'm glad that we've got some people in here contributing, seeing what we're going to end up here with as our different variables.
Yeah.
Um,
So far, it's
seeing
been
how
a yeah. It's been a fun mix so far from what I can see, so it'll be interesting. I think we're working on a country jazz. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody's ever
yeah.
done that or how that's going to work, but heck, that's the fun thing about it, right? We let AI do all the hard work, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, go ahead, plug away whatever you got that you're working on. I'm just going to put this last poll in, and then we'll be in business. I need to end this one. So, female. I'm also trying to tally up at the same time. Oh, it looks like we've got a female. So we got duet. Yeah, okay. So we'll do female male vocals. Yeah, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. My apologies.
Okay, so what are we looking at now? A country what with female vocals?
It looks like it's going to be a duet, female male country jazz, and we're just checking to see if anybody wants any additional instruments added in there. So should be interesting. But
Do we have a subject for our song?
not yet. Not yet. We're getting to that part.
Okay.
But so how often do you release music? Do you have an actual schedule? Do you just kind of release things as you feel they need to be, or
Yeah.
I,
So
I don't know if it's
I've
like the
released.
streaming life where it's like everybody tries to have this dictated schedule or anything of the sort. So I don't know if you run the same way or if you're a little more laissez-faire, I guess.
But I had been a little bit more laissez-faire, with the releases that I've just put up to date. But recently, trying to be a little bit more specific and doing just a little bit of research and on best practices for some of these. And what I found is rather than releasing a bunch of tracks at once, an album, it's recommended to help the algorithm if you post a track or two a week, on a regular schedule, and that helps the algorithm find you and get you promoted. Um, so, to the point for the music purists, right? The concept of the album for streaming purposes is not one that I don't know is promoted really anymore. The idea for the streaming services is more around the individual tracks than it seems for that album, right? So
Yeah.
like Radiohead's Kid A might not necessarily be the best thing to be releasing, and it would be more rather the individual tracks. So I've been looking for about every Sunday. I've been releasing a new track. Started this schedule last week, so I released my 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 last release, and I'll be posting something later today after we get off of this, most
Nice.
likely.
Nice.
Usually it takes, I found the different services take different amounts of time to get things live. Spotify tends to be the one that gets things out most quickly. Um, so, we'll see how quickly the other tracks get out. It usually takes 2 to 3 weeks for the longest ones. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, so we'll see how these get out there. Usually, so I'm you know basically 2 tracks every week is what I've been going for. And
Gotcha.
what I'll be doing is, and over time, some of these are I'm going to be releasing various variants of some of these too. The ones that I love the lyrics on, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
between a couple different versions. So, collecting those and trying to release those kind of in the same time and over time.
Nice. And you're on all the streaming platforms like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music.
Yeah, yeah, you can find me as System, Systim. My name's Tim, so I thought that was kind of clever. Um, and
Love a good
I've been
pun.
fortunate. I tend to be an early adopter. I always have been. So you can find me as System, Systim, on most socials and streaming services tend to grab that moniker early, which is great. Um, so I use DistroKid to distribute my music, and that will automatically, distribute out to Spotify, YouTube Music, um, Prime Music, and then a lot of the smaller streaming services that I've only heard of or used a couple times. The one that seems to be getting the most traction, and, at least my kids have heard about and used is Deezer, Deezer.
Hmm.
Um, I know that for well, my oldest child is a freshman in college now, and she's very eco and politically conscious. And from what I've heard, Deezer is the one that is the most I don't know, friendly to those that are politically and environmentally conscious. Um, and the one that apparently takes best case care of their artists, pays them the most royalties, etc. Um, I have
Nice.
yet to see
Nice.
a royalty. I think last time I checked, I have made $1.71 in total
Ooh.
for, in, uh, but not allowed to cash out until I think I reach $10. So that'll be sitting there for a little while,
Is
or
that through
probably decades.
is that through DistroKid? Is that where it is? Or is that through
Mhm.
Spotify? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, through DistroKid. And
Nice.
from what I have seen, $1 of that $1.72 came from YouTube Music.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, I
if
mean, I
anybody's interested,
guess, yeah, yeah. I guess it's somewhat helpful, right? We do have a question here in the chat. It says, "When you're building your lyrics, what inspires you the most?"
yeah, well, that's what I had been talking earlier about, being a poet, for the last what 30 years or whatever. I went to college for English literature and poetry. I thought I was going to be a professor in college teaching poetry. So, I have
Nice.
notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of old poems that I've been reusing. What I have done personally is, being into AI to a great degree.
Yeah.
I have set up a custom chat GPT that I've been using to help me take my poems and turn them into lyrics,
Yep.
which is always a challenge. So
Yeah.
what I've done is set up a custom chat GPT with very specific rules that talk about trying to you know use different kinds of rhymes, rhyme schemes to manipulate those poems. So telling it to you be heavy in the use of um, interior rhymes or slanting rhymes, to use certain cadences to when they're recrafting the poem. So basically, some rules to say, hey, take a look at this poem. And I'm not using a lot of specific rhymes during the poem. My inspiration, the poems that or the poets that I tend to like are the Beat Generation poets of the 1950s. Very kind of free form, and so taking my poems and turning them into lyrics using this GPT. Um,
Gotcha.
as
Nice.
far as the subject matter, um, once again, the benefit of being able to do all of this music on one's own is one of the things that really attracts me to Suno and some of these other products. And so, the ones that I tend to write, specifically, on my own here, the new poems, they tend to be about, isolation and, creating art on one's own, being up late, very late at night, etc. Um, if you hear a song about that, it's probably been written most recently. But then, there's of course the songs that I've written about, coming out, driving out west, moving from Florida to Seattle when I was in my 20s, you know, with my best friend from college, and you know, those big life events that have taken place over the years, the falling in loves, the you know, the being lonelies, the understanding of a new city and all the wonders that it has here. So it's basically just my life.
Nice, nice. That's good. There's always those people that are hypotheticals and then the realists, so it's nice to know where it comes from, which is good.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, do you
absolutely.
pull from like other people's experiences as well? Are you one of those lyricists?
Yeah, you know, you know, one thing that I think I wish I had a little bit better developed in myself is the ability to be really empathetic and dive into someone's shoes. With my lyrics, it tends to be very, you know, very self-centered,
So
right? You know, because
self-reflecting. That's fair.
these are my babies, you know, and I feel, you know, because I'm not making music that is with the intent of being, you know, a worldwide banger. You know, I'm not looking to make money or become a famous musician or anything like that. So, yeah, I do feel, you know, that I have a lot more room to be, you know, very honest, and say whatever I want to, you know, reveal to the world, you know, anything that you know, is in my heart,
Nice.
and that I feel like I can share. One of the things that has always kept me back from music was, you know, that ability to be really authentic. You know, when working with bandmates and creating songs with other people, you know, it's hard to inject one's, you know, to be really sincere in some of those moments. I found.
It can be,
So, you
yeah.
know, being able to have complete control over the inputs and outputs, um, for me has generated music that is a lot more personal, a lot more sincere, um, direct, and honest than I ever would have produced if I had been in a band, right? You
Mm,
know, and
it's
um,
fair.
you know, having to deal with other people's inputs and abilities and interests and things. Here it can be, what do I want to say and how do I want to say it? How do I want to connect with you?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
you
the
know,
number
what are
one
those?
cause. Sorry, that's the number one cause I think for band breakups is the fact that everybody wants creative control, and the bands that
Right,
stay
right.
together are usually the ones like Bon Jovi, where it's like it's one person, everybody else is just hired, and they do what they got to do. But yeah, once you
Right.
start getting creative differences, I mean, there's endless amount of YouTube channels. I think that just their whole content is, you know, how bands broke up, and it's always creative differences. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it is.
yeah,
But
and it's interesting, you know. I think too, there's all these bands that start out, you know, and then as able to understand, you know, the way of producing music, you know, and the industry of it, and you know, getting skills together where, you know, once you've spent a year or two, you know, behind the boards or learning how to put together all of these things, you know, you
yeah,
get the understanding and a lot better where you can go off on your own and do all these things. And now that we have these tools, which are so absolutely powerful, um, you know, maybe don't have to pay those dues of years and years and years of sitting inside music studios and things and learning. And I can see where a lot of musicians would take offense to that, right? You know, they've
yep,
spent years and years honing those skills and spending that time learning and watching the guy behind the board, or you know, watching the drummer set up their drums and understand how to do it. But
yeah.
you know, we don't necessarily have to take that time um,
No.
to sit and learn like that. We can just get the outputs that we're looking for in an amazing way. Have it sound like what we're looking for it to sound just
Well,
by talking to it.
we're gonna see how true that holds.
We'll see. We'll see.
So let's
Um,
go ahead. I think we got
and
all
this
the
is an
polls
interesting
done.
experience, you know,
Oh,
because we're like a, you know, like a a house band, so to speak, or a producer that's come in to make somebody
Yeah.
else's music sound awesome. Now we're taking here, somebody else might have a vision, right? Now we're going to be doing a country jazz song with a duet, right? That's
Let's
not necessarily something that I would do. So, all right, be the house band and producer and see what we can get, right?
we'll see what we can get. Exactly. So hey, we got a ninja in the background that's kind of been listening in and such. I think he's been keeping track of everything. So let me just make sure I got this right and correct me where I'm wrong. But so we're going with I believe the number one, the genre we were going with country jazz. Is that what it was? You can go ahead and speak. It's okay. You can talk to me.
That is correct. Yep.
Awesome. Vocal styles was duet, male, female.
Correct.
It's going to be interesting. Additional instruments, I think it said use the wheel, right? There was a wheel.
That's right. Yeah, wheel.
All right, so let's go ahead. What we'll do is we'll skip over to the next screen. We're going to use the wheel, find out exactly what instruments we're dealing with. And then we will come back and we'll listen to System's song while we build that prompt. And then after that, we will get into the songwriting here. So bear with me. Let's start the wheel and we'll come back. There you go. For anybody who may have liked that. Sorry if the volume was a little loud and I blew out your eardrums, but I wanted to do a little Wheel of Fortune type thing. And by the way, all oh, go ahead.
How do I share with you my prompts and lyrics?
You can just do it through Discord and then I'll paste them in
the chat that we have going on here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So let's go ahead. Let's see. We are doing instruments. So let me pull up that wheel. Wheel of instruments. Ta-da! So we've got saxophone, piano, symphonic orchestra, which might turn it into a whole other genre. And then we've got bass and synthesizer. So let's see what the wheel gives us. Let's see what happens. Where are we at? This is the fun part. I like the wheel. It rolls forever. It keeps you on the edge of your seat here, and we'll see what happens. But so it looks like it might be a piano or a sax. Or we got a Careless Whisper George Michael thing going on. Who knows? No, it switched over. So there you go. We've got synth. All right. So country jazz with synthesizer.
All right.
Hey, let's see what happens, eh? Okay. Country jazz with synthesizer. Now, we could technically work that into the prompt if we wanted to, or we can just add a synth solo in the middle of the song. We'll see how it goes, but let's wrap back around here and let's review. So let's go here. I've got one more song, which, by the way, all the music that you're hearing today is all AI generated, by the way. Just about everything. Other than me or System talking, it's all AI generated. So we'll see you on the other side.
Something new to get into. Let's review, yeah.
I love those little bumpers. I think they're great. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. I spent days just prompting that and having a grand old time. I was like, I want to find some variations of music, but so we do have a song here. Oh, I'm gonna have to share my other screen with you guys just because otherwise you guys aren't gonna hear anything. So bear with me here. There we go, and it didn't change anything. Awesome, that's great. So, I believe the song you want to introduce to us today, System, or Tim, is "Everything's Shaken." Where did that come from? What's the? I listened to it. I think it's a great track. Don't get me wrong, but where's the inspiration come from that? What's the story behind
Sure,
it?
yeah. So everything shaken. Yeah. So that's once again one of those ones about working late at night on these types of projects, creative projects, during this time of real uncertainty, how everything is changing so quickly, politically, environmentally, I mean, and just personally, right? With going through big changes in our lives as we get older and find these new interests in technology. So how as individuals we're working together, but as individuals during this really uncertain time, right? Everything's shaking, everything's stirring,
Nice.
everything's kind of uncertain. Um, and then there's that kind of, I guess it would be the, I don't know, the second meaning of everything shaken, where uh, everything's shaken. It's a, basically let's get shaken, right? Well, let's get moving, let's get dancing,
Fair.
right? Still has a great beat behind it, and you can still get up and move to it, right? So kind of that double meaning a little bit.
Interesting. I noticed in the prompt of that song it says under 2 minutes, but the song is 4 minutes and 25 seconds. So that's
Yeah, well, and that's an interesting point, because that's an artifact of iteration, right? The
yeah.
first one was a real short one, but liked it so much it kept going, and that part of the prompt never got out, and I guess got ignored.
Yeah.
Which is fine with me, since I did want it to go longer, but
Right.
still ended up being a part of that prompt.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point. I'm glad that you saw that.
Yeah. No, well, that's the
'Cause,
kind of thing with AI. You just never know. Right.
yeah, some of these things, it is interesting, to have to, go through the process, see what works, what doesn't work, what is held on to, and how to get things noticed and prioritized. Um,
Mhm.
like that. Let's keep it under a minute. That rarely that rarely happens. Now on the other side, as you can see in this playlist, the first one, "You're Loved, Let's Go," um, that is one of the earlier iterations of those tracks, and that was "Let's Keep It to Underneath a Minute" or "Underneath 2 minutes."
It
That
succeeded for that
one
one.
was, yeah, it was geared towards, I was trying to see if I could have make a live album, right? I've been hearing a lot of conversation about, hey, how could you ever play any of these tracks live? Well, I'm like, well, maybe we could fake it. So, going in there and saying, hey, let's do a live, festival opening, just a minute or something, a couple minutes, and get that in there, just a little something. And so those tracks ended up getting longer as I iterated, but this one, as you can see, is what, like a minute 40 or something.
Yeah, minute
Uh,
39. So
so
yeah, so maybe this
still
guy's
kept it.
gonna reach out on Facebook and have this idea for a live event, and we might need some live sounding music.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's go
Yeah,
ahead.
so,
We'll oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say we'll go ahead. We'll kickstart the track. So this is "Everything's Shaken" by System. Go ahead and listen to that. While you guys are listening to that, we're just going to start building the prompt for the song that we're going to be writing, and we'll see you in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. bulb flickers like it needs a break. The fridge speaks slow and the power's fake. Blue scroll loops in my rearview glass. Another update I scroll right past. Sensors stutter when I pass the door. My face half caught in a phantom floor. The city buzzes like it's glitching out. I hum to drown the arrow sound. Every system wants control, but I move slow, I don't patrol. Everything's shaking now, sinking sound. Truth lagged out when the feed went down. But I've got traction in these off-brand boots. Ghost in the loop, still tracing roots. Everything's shaking, nothing's crowned. So I leave my mark without a sound. Everything's shaking. Just froze. I guess we're human when the circuit goes. There's dust on the lens and frost in the file, but I'm still sorting by hope once in a while. My inbox pings like a haunted bell. Unread futures I can't quite sell. Still I stack my time like nested code. Keep my presence set too low. Quiet's heavy but it's clean. The sharpest shapes move in between. Everything's shaking now, sinking sound. Truth flagged out when the feed went down. But I've got traction in these off-brand boots. Ghost in the loop, still tracing roots. Everything's shaking, nothing's crowned. So I leave my mark without a sound. Everything's shaking. Drum roll here, just tap and scroll and hum and steer. My pulse knows better than the plan. Hold the line, don't raise your hand. Everything's shaking, rich and grinning. But I find rhythm. What's wearing thin? If I vanish, trace the route. Softest signal, loudest doubt.
Awesome. I like that track actually. It's good.
Thanks.
Good. I see that. Was this the one? I think it was the one where it's like you set the weirdness to like 75% and such. You like playing with those settings, eh? Did you notice a lot of big changes on the back end?
I do. Yeah, 75% for the weirdness is always where I'm going to set it, or at least around there. Yeah, that's the thing that I find gives the most interesting results. Keeping it at 50 will give you a nice kind of, I don't know, basic song, right? That's going to be the one that is, I don't know, the most average, I guess, right? The one that's set up the most radio friendly, I suppose. But as you start moving that weirdness up, it starts giving you some of the some glitches. It sets the song up in a little bit more interesting way, gives you more bigger pauses. There's more, bigger jumps in kind of in levels and dynamics of the song.
Sounds like fun.
I find once I go past 75, it starts freaking out though, and starts getting really weird. Anything over 80 is almost unusable.
Oh, really?
But anything under 50 or 60, I find is just completely milk toast, and too plain Jane for me. Yeah, I tend to crank it up a little bit more than probably most people do.
That's fair. Okay, hold on. It's not letting me copy. So you did build a prompt here, and I want to use it. Now, you want me to just put all this right into the styles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me
And so
see.
for
It's
context
not...
here, there's a million ways that we can do all of this, right? Where we could just in the styles put in country / jazz duet or whatever. But what I did is, I had been talking about my custom GPT that I use, and so it has a lot of rules set up into it. So I just in mine I put in uh, country jazz duet, and was able to generate the sound prompt that I put over in the chat for you to drop in. And so what it identifies there is the BPM, the meter, the key, so keeping it in a major key in this particular case. Taking a look at how the beat is arranged, like in this case, like a country shuffle with brushed jazz, effects, with a swing kind of beat, and a kind of what he calls a 2-beat train push for it.
Yeah.
So it's but
The standard 4/4 signature, but it's going to be broken down into two notes per bar. Is that it? Or
yeah, exactly right.
D major.
And then the rhyme typology in there, where the first verse is ABAA, and then BCBB with the hook of DE, DE, EDE. So
DDD.
basically how the song is getting set up, and it's gone against those rules that I had set up before. And this is a nice way for me to also get variance in the
Test out.
prompts that I'm using. Make sure that it sounds, there's similarities between everything, but I'm not. It ensures that I don't reuse a lot of the things, that I might otherwise, especially if I was doing it by hand, right?
Yeah. Nope, that's fair. I've noticed that I do that a lot too. Yeah, you tend to find your comfort zone, and then you kind of stay within it, and then it starts sounding like Nickelback.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you want to sound maybe not like Nickelback, but you want at least the songs to be not the exact same song every time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's the same idea, but
exactly.
And that's another thing that I have in this is trying to, I have my personas, right? And so trying to get that at least have them sound somewhat similar. So the female vocalist will.
Yeah, that's something we didn't even touch base on, but yeah, I noticed that your songs definitely have different singers and such, and you've got them set up as personas so they can revisit each other and collaborate together. Which is a whole thing, right? Like, and that's why I was wondering if it was more one of those like concept type arts where it's like almost like an opera sort of, you know what I mean, where it's like you could almost put a play behind it because of all the personas and everything else. So That's one thing I haven't gotten to play around with that I want to, but I think once my throat's been a little edgy for the last week, but I think when it clears up, I might actually have the live frequency persona where it might be my voice singing. I might set that up in the future. Let me know if that's something that you guys want to see or not, whoever's in the chat. But so we're gonna start looking at lyrics now. We're gonna need a topic. So first one to throw a topic in the chat here, I'm totally gonna grab it, and it can be just about anything as long as it's respectful. Like we're not diving into politics here or anything like that. I think that'd be a little too much to have. We'll start with we'll start an argument or something somewhere. But if anybody wants to throw me a topic, I am down.
Okay.
If not, is there any topics you haven't covered yet, Tim, that you'd like to cover?
Shoot, I don't know. We could keep it real straightforward and do something about making music with Suno, or we
Yeah.
can talk about space travel.
Right. I feel like
what-
country kind of pulls it already into like my dog left me and my truck won't start scenario. You know, I feel like that kind of takes it, but you know what? Fishing and hunting. There you go. How about yeah, fishing and hunting, being outside, being outdoorsy. I'm okay with that.
Okay. And
Right? That almost fits in the country too, right? Like, throw me a line. Yeah. I love it.
okay,
I
so
love it.
what I'm doing here on my end is once again, in my Chat GPT thing
Mhm.
engine, and so I'm going to take
We have
take what it's
off-roading
giving.
adventures, so this is starting to sound like a stereotypical country song. We got fishing, hunting, and off-roading.
And here's what I've got for. Oops. Let's see. We'll go to
Let me
verse
know.
2. Here. One thing I'm finding with Discord is there's a limit on the length of your chats.
Oh, that could
Here,
be,
I'll put
yes.
in. So there's lyrics until verse 2, and then here's verse 2.
Hang on. So starts at intro. Let's grab that. Let's see what you got.
And theoretically, ooh, did I do duet?
Oh, and there's
I don't know if I
outro. So I feel like
country.
we got everything. Cast track B.
Did I do a duet? So that should hit the duet, I think. We'll see.
What you've just put in, yeah? You've got as duet.
Yeah. Here, let me give you this.
It's gonna take a minute to copy, I think, but
Okay.
camping by a stream. Well, I mean, I think we'll hit the outdoorsy theme and we'll go with that. I mean, I like the fact that you've got two AI music creators. That doesn't sound like your stereotypical outdoorsy people. But it could be interesting for
unless
sure.
there's snow on the ground in the mountains, I'm going to be staying inside.
Right? I was snow blowing
Right.
this morning. I guess we could do that. Snow blow my yard.
All right. So were you able to grab those lyrics?
Oh, yeah, they just came in. So I don't know if you can see the screen that I'm sharing with you here, but that should. I think there's that black box in the way, but. So we've got intro 8 bars, full time, country shuffle, upright bass, walk, brush, snare. Look at that. You've got everything all sorted. So, oh, you got it broken down between singer A and singer B. So you got Trailhead Dawn, Thermos Steam, Boots Creased, Paths Through Loam, Creek Runs Glass, Alder Hush, Maps Fold Soft like Vellum at Home. Then we got Check the Barometer, Overcast Silver, Wind Riding Over the Foam, Tie the Tippet, Read the Eddy, Let the Cast Find Room to Roam. Lifts the drift says easy. We move in time, not haste. Footprints notch the windbreak sand. Rifling needs heat paste. Yeah. I mean, you made it really easy, so I feel like, you know what? Let's go ahead. I'm curious. I want to just hit generate on this and hear what comes out of it. So
Give it
yeah,
a shot.
and then we'll do it. Let's hit create and see what comes back. Keep in mind, guys, that you can go to suno.com. You can search for live frequency. Oh, we don't reference specifics.
Just do
Oh, hang on.
crossfade. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
They're interpreting crossfade as a artist name. Okay.
Okay, hold on. So where is crossfade? If I can remove it, then we'll be all right. I like, see, and that's the cool thing about AI music, though, is it won't directly copy things. Like, it's not just gonna go out and fully plagiarize. Like, I mean, I know it learns from somewhere, and it obviously takes very similar routes in some cases and such. But at least it won't just tell people like, "Hey, you know, rewrite this Eminem song or whatever."
Right. Yep. Yeah.
I'm
Here,
not
I'm dropping some new
seeing.
lyrics in there. I don't know
Was
if you can find that particular
yeah.
word, but here's
No.
some new lyrics that don't
Yeah.
use the word crossfade. I don't know why they would use that. That's really, really ridiculous that crossfade would be interpreted as a band name,
Right?
or would be restricted. Crossfade seems like it would be such a ubiquitous term, for music.
Yeah.
So,
I
in any
couldn't
case,
find
well,
it. I could not find it in the
interesting.
lyrics, so
Yeah. All right,
um
so I dropped the new lyrics in the
yeah.
chat, so
I'm
those
gonna try
might
one
work.
thing. I just wonder if Control F will
Oh
find
yeah,
it.
there you go.
Oh, there it is. What if we change that to cross-faded instead? Oh, did I
Sure.
just ruin everything?
There we go.
So it's here. If we change that to cross-faded, why is it?
Here, just move your cursor up there. It's like, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
There you
Let me
go.
close that. Let me change this to
There you go.
cross-faded. Why is it sending me all the way down?
Can you just use the up button to go up there?
I just don't know where it was.
Oh yeah.
But still, it's like, if I do this, can I add a D? No, it won't let me edit the lyrics at all.
That's can you remove the lyrics?
Oh, no. I can't edit these at all, which is kind of funny.
Here, you got the button, or what happens if you just hit the X up at the top to just clear it?
Yeah, good.
There you
All
go.
right, so let me just, okay, so we'll put in the second thing you put, the second set, and we'll go with that. I don't know why it's,
It's weird.
yeah, I get the
Okay.
copyright behind crossfade, but it's like, at least let me edit. I don't know why it's not letting me edit the
Go on.
lyrics, but see what
One of the
happens.
things about doing this live is, learning new things all the time, right?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And this is where AI, people are like, wow, you're just putting in a prompt. Well, as you can see, you can't just put in a prompt. Like, you have to somewhat have an idea of what you're doing. And even then, there's still some checks and balances that happen, right? So it's interesting. See how long this takes. I don't know why it takes that long. Apparently, Suno's not a fan of copying and pasting, I guess. What are these? It even gives you like EDA dunk, Chinese traditional instruments. Oh, that sounds fun.
Are you able to grab those new lyrics and drop them in?
I did. Last time it took a minute, so last time I
Took a
kind
minute?
of, well, it took a couple seconds, and last time I kind of spammed it, and then I ended up with like 4 copies of the prompt. So I'm just gonna give it a second before I try it again. You know, because right, that's That's what happens, right? Oh, you just put a prompt and the computer does all the work. Well, no, you still got to be careful. Things can go awry. Let's try. Let's see. Last time it took about 6 seconds or so there before it populated. And in that time for the style in that time I had spammed it and then I ended up with 3 versions, so or three copies. But
Okay.
let's see, we'll just give it a second. It should be a little more instant than that though, I feel. But I could be wrong. Who knows, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never had that problem before.
No, sometimes AI is like arguing with an actual person. Try one more time, I guess. One more thing.
Yeah.
Copy. Paste. So before people tell me I didn't click anything, I'll use the mouse commands. People can see. Yeah, man.
Okay. Can you type?
No.
Huh. Okay.
So let's try this here real quick.
I wonder if maybe just have to
Oh, now it's.
You want to refresh the.
Yeah, let me do that, I guess. I don't want to, but I will.
Sure.
Okay, now it's letting me. Okay. So I'm gonna put the lyrics in because they're already
Here, I'll
highlighted.
give you. I'll drop in the sound brief again too for you.
Okay, yeah, so that'll save me from having to go back all the way and recover it all.
Yeah.
And again, like I say, your prompts are a little more. Mine are way more primitive than this, but I do usually like
Sure,
including
and
the time signatures and such. So that's cool.
Yeah, and if you'd like, I know a lot of people aren't probably going to be this granular and stuff as we are here, but so we can always do something a little bit more simple if you want.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
This
so for
this
for
isn't
this,
your
since we're
style, so it's good, right?
right on. So since we're doing a duet, we don't want to
Don't
click
want
either of
to.
the
Yeah,
vocals yet.
it's fine. Lyrics mode is
And
manual because we entered that.
Should we
Click
up that?
Should we up these a little bit?
Yep, let's up the weirdness to, let's do it at 70. No, not that high. Let's do it at 70. And
You're
style
not living on the
influence,
edge, Tim. You're not living on the edge.
there you go, 70, and let's do 70 for the style influence too.
All right.
And then since we don't have any, we're not dealing with, a previous audio, we don't need to slide any more sliders, but this
Cool.
should probably be good.
Let's see what errors we get now. Oh, it's doing it.
Right.
We got instrumentals.
I wonder if it's actually instrumental.
Yeah, is it really? Sometimes it just kind of names things funny too. So we'll see what happens. All right, and it is generating.
All right, so we got some Pacific Northwest trees in the back on looks like a nice sunsetty afternoon up there.
Right. I was gonna say BC, but maybe not.
Hey, yeah, that just a couple hours north.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever crossed over into British Columbia at all?
Oh, sure, yeah. Was up there last year. I went and saw actually about 6 months ago, I saw the band OK Go.
Nice.
And then last year I saw The Cure up there too. Yeah, it's nice, just a couple of hours north of Seattle, and nice way to get a nice excuse to get out of this city, go to another one, and the border is still very friendly.
Nice.
Yeah. I bet you we could probably hit one of those that's generating, see if
okay.
if we can get anything.
Yeah, I was just testing one thing there. We can try. I don't know if it's going to have the whole. Sometimes it doesn't have the whole song when it's kind of working that way. So
Okay.
I don't know if I want to give it a minute or
Up to you, man.
give it a hot minute. Your lyrics are all written in 4/4 time at this point, though, right?
Yeah, they should match. Should match with the song. Yeah, at 4/4.
If we have time, I don't know how much time this is going to take, but if we have time, I want to put maybe a jazz 5/4 time signature and see what happens to those lyrics.
Okay.
Just straight jazz 4/5, like do a take 5 style, right? Which
Yep. Here, I'll work on that right now to something 5/4.
nice. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super intense. Something fairly simple, but I think it'll be interesting. All right, here we go. We've got 2 generations, so we've got 4
see what we
minutes
get.
17 second and 3:11. Let's see what we have.
Trailhead pink, thermos steam, boot print stitched in loam.
Estuary hush, all
Nice.
the snap folds off like velvet at home.
Check the barometer, overcast silver, gulls write cursive in foam.
Tie the tippet, read the eddy, set the
A
rhythm
whole lot of
and
jazz.
roll.
Let's see.
No,
We'll
see what happens,
let
but-
the drift say easy, we move without haste.
Windbreak reeds make ledger lines, the bass marks grain and grace.
Pedal steel yawns, synth pad embers, brushes whisper the pace. We keep the stumble that ring
Now
like
I'm
truth.
making
Take we
a
dare to trace.
updating.
North there tuning
my
our
instructions.
vowels true.
They make them
Linfield
sound
notes into
very
something
jazzy
new.
If
over
silence
light
nods, we give it
Yeah.
through.
Then answer
Next
soft with a
generation
sweet
over that
blue.
5/4 will
Open air,
be
Make it more
more
jazz.
jazz.
River writes a meter, ridge lines
Yeah.
on the blue.
open air, cold and true.
Cast and track together, hands keep the same cue.
Open air, cold and new. Country, jazz, and timber, open air, will true.
That other
Click to
track
react,
is getting more
click to react, click to react.
I feel like it's really trying,
Add reaction.
but it's like that 4/4 time signature I think is taking over.
Sunday, January 11th, when it's Willie time PM.
Now, let's see.
Elk sign bends, we read the thermals, bowstring low and calm.
Safety first,
Alright,
step
here's
soft and
a
steady.
new
Breath of backbone
sound.
song.
Hillside hush,
prompt.
a hawk in orbit, riffling grass like
Some
dawn.
new lyrics.
Barometer steady,
Got a
our
5/4
time.
with maybe more
Water
jazz.
true and
Well,
warm.
we'll keep the same lyrics. I just want a 5/4.
Well, but
Kettle
lyrics
take
won't be able to
square
fit
and
into the
answer,
5
space
into a
nudges,
different time
walking
signature.
flats.
We splice
I know.
the day to
I know.
melody.
Boots squeak.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Cool.
Keep the grit where the
Hey,
truth show teeth are fade.
So technically, what I want to know is I want to know how well AI is going to adjust from the 4/4 to the 5/4, because that's where you usually
Oh,
get
yeah.
the glitches happen, right? And you get these kind
Cool.
of weird pauses and such. So we'll see how that
Alright.
goes. Yeah, I
All
should be
right,
able
right on,
to. I should be able to regenerate while this is playing, right? Shouldn't affect
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, cool. So far though, it's kind of neat. It's just more country than jazz, but we'll see.
Favorite patch.
Between click and hush, we know.
A path that only weather shows.
Barometer sings in low.
We follow where its measures go.
Open air, call it through.
River writes the meter, ridge lines run the blue.
Open air, call
welcome back.
and true.
Cast and track together, we know what hands can do.
Open air, call and new. Out here, we're tuned, open air, we're tuned. Click to react.
Going away.
Open air, call it through. Open air, call it through. Click to react.
Nice. All right, that's one. Yeah. Ninja made the comment that she sounds like Dolly Parton, and she kind of does. I mean, there's only so many voices that you can get, but Let's see what the second one sounds like. Let's see if it's a little more jazzy. Sometimes that does happen where it's like it'll pull more on one genre for one genre than the others. So I'm curious. It's got a jazzy bass.
Trailhead paint, thermostine, boot print stitch in loam.
Estuary hush out her limbs, map pulls of lalum at home.
With Terry Clark. No.
Check the barometer, overcast silver, gulls write cursive in foam.
Here and
Tie the tippet, read the eddy, set the rhythm and roll.
here. I
Center
just
line
this
breath,
one here. I
let the drift
just
say easy,
the
we move
new
without haste.
one that I've written to be
Windbreak reeds
basically a jazz song with some country influence rather than
Country
Yeah,
song with
country
jazz. Nice.
more jazz forward with some country in elements, right?
Yeah.
This is, super country right now.
It is super country, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds does like the country music genre quite a bit.
It does. It does.
If silence nods, we give it room. Then answer soft with a cedar sweet blue. Open air, call it through. River writes the meter.
It's like that bass is trying to be jazz, but it's being strict. It's being true to the time signature, so it doesn't stray too far.
Yeah, and that's the type of thing, with going into the styles and adjusting, writing in there that, give it lots of swing in there, or
Yeah.
not to necessarily follow the beat too much. A little nuanced.
Upright bass walk. Like, I feel like the upright bass walk is actually coming through on this one.
Safety first step, soft and steady, breath a back porch song.
Hillside hush, a hawking oar, riffling grass.
And in that chat, I
Kilometer steady,
most recently dropped in a new sound that might work for future generations. I'm not sure.
Let's see what we got.
Cattle ticks, clatter-red answers, bass nudges.
Cattle ticks. Love it.
we splice the day to melody, boots squeak, creak, and splats.
Keep the grit where the truth show teeth, our favorite patch. Between click and hush we know a path that only weather shows.
Yeah, I can't say that this song is necessarily one that I would put into my, regular rotation of music.
No. No, it almost reminds me of that sappy era of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
Or, yeah.
It was like it was good because it was two big names. But it, like, you could tell they were in a relationship and that's all it was about. Kind of era going on. But you're right. No, it wouldn't be something I would put in my daily rotations. The first one was, I find so far, the first one was better. Let's see what these two are here. Let's start with this one. Oh!
Well, that's a lot more jazzy.
Mm-hmm. Oh! Got some barbershop going on.
Trailhead
go.
paint, thermostine, blueprint stitched in loam.
Mystery hush,
I know this sounds a little bit more like that, early, maybe 30s, early 40s country sort of stuff.
Yeah, Yeah, but it could almost be played in a speakeasy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you've got the beam down in the.
Jazz color.
Ensign our baits and 5-4.
Train accent inside, 5-4 with light country hint.
Swing persistent.
And this is the part I love. I love how it plays the lyrics, so it'll speed up some parts, slow down others.
Rang like truth, the take we dare to trace. No, they're tuning our vowels true. Glenfield notes into something.
That's an interesting take on this. I love it.
Yeah,
Silence nods, we
I like that.
room.
Then answer soft with a cedar sweet bloom. Open air, rubber writes the meter.
I'd say it's almost 50-50. This one's very, very like when I pictured country jazz, I think this is more what I was anticipating.
Yeah. It's an interesting mix of the two.
Yeah. Little piano in there. Which-
We read the thermals, low and calm.
Feel safety first, step soft and steady. Breath of back porch song.
Hillside hush, a hawk in orbit, riffling
And
ground.
it's captured the duet fairly well.
Yeah.
Here.
Our timing under
Yeah, it's really playing it.
It's good how the voices. One thing that I found that's been really interesting is how the male and female vocals can sound very similar once you start getting into certain registers. And there's been a couple tracks where I've been able to purposely have it go from one of the male singer's voice and have it slide into the female vocalist. So there's like no transition between. And that's a really interesting effect that I don't know if we'd be able to get with any other tools, right? I guess a real hardcore producer could do something like that, but to get it so one voice really more seamlessly into another one.
Yeah.
It's been really cool. That has been an artifact that was a mistake, but I've tried to replicate on other tracks. And that's really neat.
Yeah. This is so cool. This will probably make it to like my playlist now.
Right up. But
Yeah, no, you were talking about that, and it's like I know that there's some people that can imitate, and they can but even then they don't nail it. Like they still have to kind of take that separation between the two to readjust the vocal cords. So you're right. I don't think there's too many other tools. I don't know, guys in the chat, get ready to vote on your favorite one. But so far, this one I think takes the cake. Let's see what this one brings. But well, this one's almost like big band.
yeah,
Big band jazz.
there's some bebop in there.
Yeah.
Bootprint stitched in loam.
Estuary hush, alder limbs, map folds off like vellum at home.
It's like walking around Winter Wonderland, but not Christmassy.
Tide tippet,
Right.
rusty eddies.
Which is nice. I'd like to have some of those songs that aren't completely redone and
When
Yeah.
the
Better
beats
Christmas.
make ledger lines, the base marks grain and gray.
Pedal steel yarn, scent pad embers, brushes whisper the pace.
We keep the stumble that rang like truth, the take we dare to trace.
North air tuning our vowels true. Glenfield notes into something new. If silence nods, we give it room.
Then answer soft with a cedar sweet blue.
Open air, parts the meter, ridge lines round the blue. Open air, oars and cast and track together, hands keep the same cue. Open air, oars and needle, country jazz and timber.
Click to react, click to react.
Click to react. Click to react. Add reaction.
sign bends, we read the thermals, bowstring low and calm.
Safety first, step soft and steady. Breath
I kind of like this one so far.
Yeah, I like the bass on this one. It's really jazzy.
Barometer steady, our time and water true and warm.
Back at camp, that tent light humming.
Obey me later like gnats.
Kettle ticks clarity, answer.
Bass nudges walking fast. We splice the day to melody. Boot squeak, creak and splash.
One thing that I found has been useful too, trying to capture some of these songs, outside of the ChatGPT that I've got, is taking songs that MP3s of songs that I really like. ChatGPT and a lot of these other ones, Claude or Anthropic, you can take those MP3s and put them in there and ask the GPT to describe the song, the sound of it, or some of these to describe the sound of some of your favorite bands, like Radiohead or DJ Shadow, as I was saying before.
Yep.
To describe their sound, or Radiohead's song, Everything in Its Right Place, right? Describe the sound of that song to me, but don't include any band names or song names, and, or drop in that MP3 and say, hey, describe the sound of this song for me, and then can take that song DNA or song prompt, and that'll I use those often as a kind of jumping off place. So like in this case, if we had a jazz track that we really like, a Miles Davis song or something, we could drop that into one of these ChatGPTs or whatever and get this how it would describe that song.
Yeah.
So, use that as a place to start off.
Nice.
I say that just for the audience in case they want to get started. I don't know.
So yeah, in case anybody wants to play around with it, yeah, for sure. And there is a free version of Suno, by the way. They're like, you can sign up, get a free account and stuff, and start playing around in here. I think you're just limited to like 50 credits, if I remember correctly. So you get, I think, like 4 or 5 songs per month or something like that you can play around with. But yeah, for sure, if it's something that you're interested in, you can definitely play around. So I personally think the top one, I think, is still my favorite. Mind you, the second one had some good elements. I think from a jazz perspective, though, I think I liked this one better. And from a country perspective, I think I liked this one better with the Dolly Parton. What do you think?
Yeah,
I know we got
agree. Now,
some in the chat like the first one better here. Right? No, you were saying, sorry, I kind of cut you off. I didn't mean to.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's been interesting to see the different variants that kick out. Like not only just between the ones that we use different prompts, but even between the two variants that they kick out using the same information. It's always interesting to see, the slight, there's not going to be as big difference, but just the different interpretations from the same words.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna mark. I think it's the chat seems to like this one, so I'll thumbs up this one. And I think I'll thumbs up this one. Now keep in mind that this thumbing up obviously just makes it so that if you kind of use a similar prompt, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe under my understanding, if you use a similar prompt, it's going to be leaning more to this based on your personal preferences. Or at least that's the way it was explained to me. So
yeah. So you can change the whatever, and it'll still track to that style. And then in those sliders on the left, the higher the higher the style goes up, the more it's going to lean towards that style prompt. Lean more towards that or less towards that.
Cool. Well, hey, awesome. You know what? I thank you for your time. This was fantastic. I think we're coming up to like almost 2 hours now. Time flies. I didn't think, honestly, when I woke up this morning, I was concerned that I would not have enough time to like
Yeah.
I would have to find ways of stretching this out. We had a meeting with Ninja earlier, and I was like, hey, like if I need some stretch out, help me out, do what you can. It looks like an hour and a half is really easy to beat. So,
Yeah.
any final words before we let everyone go? Anything you? Again, we can find you on your socials, right? You've got Facebook, you're on Suno, you're on Spotify. It's all under System. You got a YouTube channel as well, so if ever people are on YouTube Music, or even YouTube in general, right?
That's right.
Apple
That's
Music,
right,
you're
yeah.
there as well.
I'm
So-
on all of them. Should be able to find me.
Yeah.
If you can't find me just through SYSTIM, my main release is called String Theories. So if you search for System String Theories, you should be able to find me easy.
Yeah.
Um, you can find my
So-
personal portfolio at timadlin.com, and I've got links out to all my socials there too. So
Nice.
this has been
Nice.
super fun. I'm glad
Yeah.
to have the platform to talk to the community and talk to you. All the people.
I'm
that are
good. Not many people like talking to me. No, I'm just kidding. But
I find this super interesting, and love connecting with people that are interested in it too. I invite anybody to reach out to me about all of this stuff.
100%. Awesome. Well, thank you. There was a question. So it's suno.com. I can put it in one chat, but it won't go in all. So I think it was a Twitch question. I'm going to put it in. So it's suno.com. You can always just search for that. Keep in mind, we are in there, live frequency. Everything that we're going to generate over these series, you can be found in here. It can also be found on YouTube. It will be on Twitch for 7 days, and then it comes off. But for sure, YouTube is where you'll be able to find the video on demand. Keep an eye out. We do have Sarah Writes Right coming February 8th. I'm going to put that live event up as well. If ever there's anything else that you're working on, Tim, feel free to reach out. I wouldn't mind having you on again, to be honest. I totally love the idea of making this a repeat occurrence and that kind of thing. I want to build this community and kind of get everybody involved and that kind of thing. So I think it'll be really awesome. But Sarah Writes Right will be our next guest in February. She is from Florida. You went to college in Tallahassee, I think. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. So she's from Tallahassee, so that's where I went to college. So I've got some nice ties to that, and it'll be interesting to see that in the next session. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for their time. Thank you for giving us a shot, coming in, checking it out, seeing what it is. Make sure you comment if there's anything, livefrequencyinfo@gmail.com, if there's any feedback that needs to be given whatsoever, or even then, if you wait a couple hours, there'll be a YouTube video and you can go ahead and mash comments on that. But yeah, otherwise, thank you everybody, and have yourselves a great rest of your day, and enjoy your Sunday. I think we're just touching into the football games now, so everybody's going to be going off and watching the Eagles or whoever it is that's playing tonight. But thanks again, everybody, and thanks, Tim, and everybody. Have yourselves a great day. Ninja for moderating the chat and helping out. I appreciate it, and everybody else who watched. Have a great one.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
I don't have an outro, but I do want to replay the intro. So here we go.